Week 8 was an interesting week for Dallas. It's the third week overall for this first full season. This episode focused primarily on Pam, an old girlfriend of Bobby's. Jenna Wade makes her first appearance, and she's portrayed by Morgan Fairchild in this particular episode. And wow, Jenna Wade, what an interesting character. She's a really interesting. Um, she causes quite the bit of tension. She's a fun little character, and JR has a little way of manipulating her into doing what he wants, but he's not fully successful because she's not that good of a liar, and she admits that by the end of the episode. Um, I have to be honest, as much as I liked the Jenna Wade character, I did not like this episode. I thought this episode was pretty poor. It was quite boring, to be perfectly blunt. Um, Not much happened in this episode. Yeah, it was just Pam got jealous of Bobby's old girlfriend, who he asked to her to marry him. So I mean, there's a case for why he would be jealous of these things, but yeah, it was just pretty dull overall. This would be one of those that if this character did not come back into play later in the history of the series, this episode would mean nothing. It's that inconsequential to this particular season as a whole. It was just the. It was really disappointing after such a strong two-parter season opener to have such a meh episode be the follow-up. Yeah, there's not really too much to talk about other than there's a reference that Miss Ellie makes about how she was able to grab hold of Jock, which is something that I never wanted to picture Miss Ellie doing. But apparently, we get to see that in a TV movie much later in the future. So it's interesting that this episode actually does come into play quite a bit later on in the history of the show. One for the early years TV movie, and multiple other times when this character, Jenna Wade, is going to return. But for now, she's just this one episode character she's interesting, but the episode doesn't really work. It's boring, it's bland, not much to really talk about other than the character was interesting, but the scenario and the episode didn't really work. I liked her daughter. Jenna Wade had a daughter, and that was a really interesting dynamic about how Bobby's playing off of whether he can be a father, if he is the father of this child. But Pam comes in and she gives it to Jenna like it is. And Pam wins over Bobby in the end, even though she realizes that she didn't really have to do that because Bobby is loyal to her. At least at this point in time. There's not too much else to mention about this episode because it really doesn't really, other than those brief things of setup for later in the series, which I don't think were intentional from the get-go. Yes. This upcoming week, it is not a 2-hour episode week, it's a 2-day week. There are 2 episodes that aired one day back to back, basically. So I think we have an episode on Wednesday and we have an episode on Thursday this week. So I'll have to do the videos a little bit sooner than I've been doing them. I've been a little bit distracted, but that's okay. Am I excited for this week? I'm excited to be in Dallas twice this week. But I'm also, my predictions are becoming correct and how painful this first half of the first full season really will be. But they're still kind of trying to find themselves, and that's okay. I I think they will have found themselves by the end of this season, and they will have found an audience as well by that point in time. So, anyways, I will catch you guys this upcoming week where we have 2 new videos, 2 new episodes, and I hope you continue with me in our journey with the South Fork clan.